Today's illustration is one piece that I have had on the back burner for a while, and I have finally been able to do it. So this is going to be my interpretation of Coraline, a very creepy Coraline at that. I have basically turned her into a very creepy humanoid slash demon sort of monster types thing, and also included her cat in a completely different form to what the cat is in the movie. So if you don't know what Coraline is all about, Coraline is just about an 11-year-old girl called Coraline. When she moves into a new house, there is a door that she ends up going through, and it goes through to a parallel universe, which basically replicates her own world that she lives in. But this world is quite weird and creepy and holds some extremely dark secrets. And yeah, it is a very creepy film, and I wouldn't say it's scary. It's not scary at all, but it does give you a bit of a creepy feeling. It does sort of really give you like a sense of like a sort of Tim Burton-esque movie, but it's actually not done by Tim Burton at all, which is actually quite funny because for many years, going back many years ago, I thought it was a Tim Burton movie, but it's actually not. But it is a stop motion movie like you see with Nightmare Before Christmas and The Corpse Bride and all those sort of ones like that. So what I did with this piece today is I really sort of turned Coraline into a demon, and then I turned her cat into some sort of demon as well, who was just basically floating beside her, and she is looking extremely scary. Like this is a kind of terrifying kind of version of Coraline. So like she is like all shades of munted completely. So what this is portraying with this illustration is they have basically come back from doing some shenanigans, doing some crazy ass shit, and they're covered in blood. She's covered in blood. She's got some tools hanging out of her bag, and they're basically like the cat's just looking at her, and she's looking at the cat as she's walking, and they're basically going, yeah, that was cool. What we just did then was cool. So they've like mauled or maimed somebody, or you know, let your imaginations run wild, like I always say with these illustrations. Because I could really go to a dark place here. I try to be a little bit less dark, but I just always say to you guys, just let your imagination run wild. So with her face and her hands, I really wanted to give her a decaying sort of horrid look, but I do feel as though I went a little muddy on her face. And if you have been with me from the beginning of my YouTube channel, you'll know that I don't mind a bit of a muddy look. It works for me. I enjoy it. But I kind of didn't really want that for her face. I sort of wanted a little bit more of a clean cut look, but it didn't work out that way, but that's fine. I just have to deal with it. You know, it's just shit happens. But yeah, I don't mind this illustration. Like, this illustration to me was not too bad. I don't mind it, but I kind of wish that I didn't include the background in the end. I think that kind of ruins it. And just let you be the judge of that. Tell me what you think about the background. Do you think I should have put that wash of dark color in the background, or should I have just left the characters on the white paper? I personally think I should have left the characters on the white blank backgrounds to make them pop a little bit more. And you'll see as we get on, you'll see that they do sort of pop like quite a bit because of the colors. And then when I show the end result at the end with the background, it doesn't pop as much. So that's a bit of a regret for me. I wish I kind of didn't do that, but shit happens once again. I live and I learn when it comes to art. So I ended up using my SeamiArt paints for this. I'm trying to share the love across all my palettes at the moment because I don't like to just favor one and then ignore the rest. So I've been sort of alternating every picture that I do. I've been picking up a different palette. The only palette I won't pick up is my Montmartre one because, you know, everyone knows Montmartre's shit, and that thing is going to sit there forever and mold up because I don't ever want to use it again. But yeah, I used the SeamiArt palette that I've just recently bought, and yeah, I've got one gripe with it. The fact that I cannot use a liner over it. It clogs up my liners, and I am not a fan of that whatsoever. I do know that some of the paints that I use, some of the watercolors I use do that to a certain extent. And then I've got my Dano U, whatever you say that brand's name. I don't understand why they call it that. But yeah, that palette that I have, and then the El Rado di Pialo samples that Chantel sent me. I've got no issues with them either, with the liners going over it. But yeah, some of these other ones, and I just put it down to them being like a cheaper watercolor. Yeah, I can't get my liners to sort of go over them without clogging up, and it's really frustrating. So this piece sort of took me a little bit longer to do because I had to keep rubbing the nib onto a paper towel to get some of the watercolor off because it was just reactivating it and sort of just clogging up the pen. And even if I left it for, you know, a couple of hours to really let that watercolor dry, and even overnight, like I did this over, you know, a couple of hours over 2 days per day, and yeah, it still came back the next day, and I still couldn't sort of go over the watercolor without it sort of coming up and just not letting me do line art over the top because it just sort of clogged it. So yeah, that's the only issue I have with these. Other than that, they still look good. They still are okay. They're like not my best watercolor that I own, but they're okay. They're usable. But yeah, I sort of, yeah, it's just the liner thing is a little bit, you know, a bit shit. But you know, what can you do? I just have to find a way to line art over the top of it somehow. Might try some different liners, or I might just have to do line art first and then do the watercolor, which I don't like doing because then I got to go over with a liner anyway. But anyway, I'll figure it out. It's not for you guys to worry about. So yeah, anyway, what else do I have to say about this piece? Yeah, like I said, I do like this. I just wish I didn't do the background on it and did that horrible background. Once again, you can tell I'm not a very good shoe drawing person. I do really struggle to draw boots and shoes and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, her boots aren't the best. So yeah, I just wish that I could draw shoes better. I just need to work on it. It's not something that I do a lot because I do a lot of monster illustrations. And hey, it was fun to do it and to do something different, and sort of, once again, you got to step outside your comfort zone and do stuff to improve, and that's what I did. I ended up using a little bit of the metallic shimmer paints from the SeamiArt palette on her little dragonfly clip. I wouldn't really call it a dragonfly clip. It was kind of just like, I just put a few lines down here and there and just hoped for the best because it's just something that I didn't want to apply a lot of detail to. So that's why it looks like it does. But I ended up just going over it a bit with some of the metallic gold and bronzy colors in the palette, and then just went over it with a liner and yeah, just finished it off. So that is it. That's it from me. We're nearing the end of this illustration. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this extremely creepy ass version of Coraline. She's been up to no good with her cat, and they're coming back pretty smug and satisfied with themselves. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I am out of here, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.